Hey guys, guess what? I was supposed to go live at 1 p.m. on Friday, like I always do. And it was my daughter's spring break. My parents were over. We were doing some work around the house, and I completely forgot about it. So here I am doing what I was supposed to do on Friday with you to sit on my back porch. And it is so awesome to finally have it be spring here in Indiana. And I hope that you are enjoying the shift in the seasons too, wherever you are. So here's the question that I'm going to talk about this week. This is from one of the guys in Men in the Battle. He says, what if my wife is not terribly bothered by my slips with pornography and masturbation? Should she be? The second part of this question is, my wife's not interested in getting support for herself. My sobriety is pretty solid now, but I know I hurt her badly. We are getting along, but not getting closer, and I don't think she wants to. What can I do? Okay, heart-wrenching, painful, difficult questions. Oh, hey, Jake Porter. I was actually going to mention you because this is a question for a couple, and I know of very few clinicians who do a better job with couples than Dr. Jake Porter. His practice, Daring Ventures in Houston, Texas, I give a huge shout out for. They use a form of therapy called EFT, among many other things that they do. And EFT stands for Emotionally Focused Therapy. It is a form of couples therapy that is based in attachment theory. Michael and I actually got to have an intensive, well, it wasn't an intensive, it was more like a retreat weekend for couples in ministry and counselors to be away with their spouses and to work on some EFT exercises together. And it really does help explain some of the typical patterns that couples have, some of the challenges couples have, and uses our attachment, our early attachment styles, and our attachment styles in our marriage to give us tools and resources to get closer. That being said, let's go back to our question here. I do think EFT therapy is a really good idea to look into. If you can go to Daring Ventures in Houston and do an intensive there, probably go on psychologytoday.com and look up people who have training in both certified sex addiction therapists and or APSATs, the Association of Partner of Sex Addicts Trauma Specialists, and or EFT. Now, EFT is also a short for something else. So you got to make sure that you're looking for emotionally focused therapy. It's also known as, I think it's emotional freedom technique or tapping. So when we're talking about EFT for couples, it's emotionally focused therapy. So for this man who's saying, hey, my wife's not bothered when I slip, when I use pornography or masturbate, should she be? I like to say, let's not should on ourselves and let's not should on each other. There is no should. There is no, I say normal is a setting on a dryer. When you're talking about addiction recovery and betrayal trauma recovery, everybody is different. I will say that the lack of concern at all could be, I'm thinking of one of two things off the top of my head, and it could be something else. One could be that she's not terribly attached anymore in the relationship, or that she's not as invested. And that is a cause for concern. However, it's not irreparable. The other possibility is that she is stuffing or repressing how she really feels about your slips. So maybe she has some kind of an agreement in her head with herself, unconscious or conscious, that says, well, I really can't trust him. He's just going to keep acting out. So she's basically braced herself and not shocked when you do. So it would be a great idea for you to talk to her and maybe say to her, hey, honey, I want to talk about this subject, and let her know. I'm wondering why this doesn't bother you. Is it that it does bother you and you just don't say anything? Do you feel like part of you just expects it, and so you've lost some heart in our relationship? If you approach this thoughtfully, prayerfully, with love, with empathy, no blame, this could be a really great discussion for you and your wife to have about what appears to be her lack of concern or lack of being bothered. And it could give you an opportunity to really connect with her heart. You may find out she actually is bothered. She just doesn't talk about it. But being given the safe space to talk about it really could help her. If she's not concerned by it at all and she claims it's just not a big deal to her, you might ask her if she'd be willing to do some couples work and do some EFT stuff, to just get at the deeper roots behind the disconnect in the marriage. So, the second part of the question being, my wife is not interested in getting support for herself. That is not uncommon. A lot of women, most women in America at least, are overworked and underpaid. We are doing a lot. We are busy. We are stressed. We are maxed, especially since the pandemic hit. And to think of adding an extra couple of hours to our schedule to go to groups, to go to therapy, to do one-on-one work, or to do the work in a workbook or in a curriculum like Women in the Battle, to be a part of a group, sounds exhausting. And if she's, already been hit by the pain and of the betrayal, to think of adding that to her already overwhelmed, stressed out, maxed schedule is overwhelming. And that's not uncommon for women to delay getting their own help or to never get their own help. The second part of the question, or what this man's question is, my sobriety is pretty solid now, but I know I hurt her badly. We're getting along, but not getting closer. I don't think she wants to. What can I do? First, I just would wonder, have you asked her not about her getting help? Certainly you can encourage her to watch our video at living-truth.org to hear women's stories and then say, what did you think about that? Just kind of have a discussion about couples who make it through this. And my other question for you would be, have you expressed to her your desire to be closer, your desire to minister to her heart? I love that this guy says, I know I hurt her badly. There's no excuses with this guy. He's acknowledging the hurt that he's caused. So there's some humility in that, and that is the raw material it takes for a person with unwanted sexual behavior to recover. So bravo to this guy. And I don't know what's going on with you. It's possible that she is afraid. So I would encourage you to have a really open, honest conversation. I find when you're dealing with something as complex as betrayal trauma, that it really is important to have another person involved. You could consider hiring a coach or a therapist that's trained in EFT to help you on the journey. Most of us cannot get through this alone, especially if we're traumatized by the betrayal. Most sexual addicts or people with unwanted sexual behavior cannot recover without professional help and group support. Those two things being kind of the cornerstones of really good recovery. So that's it for today. I'll see you guys again on Friday for my next Facebook Live at 1 p.m. Thank you.